Good morning, YouTube. This is Red Black Atheist, and this video today is going to be me just expressing my frustration with creationists and their arguments from incredulity and them putting God in every gap of what they don't understand. The reason I'm doing this is because on one of my earlier videos, I could have done that on my own, but thank you anyway, Jesus. I've been engaging in a conversation with a YouTuber, Sir Smitty23. And if you read the comment section of that video, the questions he asked me are so incredibly stupid and ignorant that I told him at first that all of these were logical fallacy questions and they were invalid and I wasn't going to answer them. And then, of course, he assumes because I choose not to answer stupid questions that proves him right. So I told him that I was going to do a video addressing some of his stupid questions and explaining to him why they were stupid questions and why he shouldn't ask them. The funny thing is, to me, 4 years ago, I knew nothing about cosmology. I knew nothing about astronomy. I knew nothing about abiogenesis. I knew nothing about evolution. Absolutely nothing. Just 4 years ago. But you know what I didn't do? I didn't assume that because I didn't know how these things work that they were done by magic. I mean, I believed that I got it one time, but I never was a literal creationist. I never believed that it was magic. I thought it was some natural process, but quite honestly, when I was younger, I didn't care. I cared more about girls and the car I was driving and the clothes I was wearing. But now I'm to a point to where I got to the point to where I cared about how this stuff worked. So I actually went and looked it up. I researched. I read books on evolution. I watched YouTube videos. I took an astronomy course. I cared enough to look up the stuff that I had questions about instead of just asking a question about how did this happen and then not accepting the answer once it was given to me and still believing God did it. And the thing that kills me is that creationists, when they ask you a question, most of the time, it's not an honest question. If you read this thread, when you answer a question for this guy, he doesn't acknowledge the answer. He shifts the burden to something else. For example, he asked me, how did humans get lungs? Did we just live for thousands of years without lungs? Now, before you laugh at the question, I answered the question. He also asked me, how did we get, where are the transitional fossils? So I gave him an example of Tiktaalik that already had lungs and that was a transitional creature. That answers both his questions with one example. Now, you would think that a person would say, okay, that's true. But he doesn't do that. Instead, he makes some reference of, well, where did the animal before that come from? And then he says something like, well, didn't we come from bacteria? He won't acknowledge the fact that there is a transitional species and that I did answer his question about where we got lungs from. Our ancestors before humans already had lungs. He does not acknowledge that. You know why? Because he does not want to. He wants to keep hiding God in another gap. That gap was closed. He can't hide God there anymore. So he wants to move it to something else. And I can answer all of his questions, but I don't really care to because I'm more interested in why they keep doing that. Why do they keep putting God in every gap? You know, Aaron Ra has said something to the effect of, not one time has there been a supernatural explanation for the natural world. And that's true. And every time I hear him ask somebody that, they never answer it because there isn't any. Supernatural explanations have never solved the problem in science ever. Not once. So why do you think you not knowing something, putting God in that gap answers the question? It doesn't. It never has and it never will. Because magic doesn't solve any problems in this world. It's really just embarrassing. Like, I didn't know anything about any of this stuff. I went to go look it up. Why do you have to ask me? Why can't you just look it up yourself? It just that's the thing that fascinates me. You know, they say, why do you care so much about what we believe? Because I'm fascinated that you guys will just take a bath in your ignorance. You like wear it like like you got an A on your report card and the teacher gives you a sticker that says good job. You guys wear that ignorance around like you're proud of it. How? I just don't understand. It fascinates me. Oh, here's the argument that Aaron had. Can you show me one verifiably accurate argument positively indicative of miraculous creation over biological evolution? I would ask any creationist watching this video to give me just one example of that. And if you can't, then what reason do you have to do with anything else we don't know? I mean, pretty much the only argument you guys have is, well, where did the universe come from? Because everything else up until that point can be answered pretty much. And everything that we don't know doesn't need magic to explain it, because magic's never explained anything. So, using arguments for incredulity, your ignorance is not an excuse to put God in anything. Ignorance is never, it just doesn't work. So, you know, it's just really frustrating. And you guys will read our reactions back and forth. I mean, every question that he asked is so, to me, it's stupid. They're stupid questions because you can go look those up. To me, every question he asked me can be looked up. He doesn't want the answer. Because when you give him an answer, he'll just switch it to something else without acknowledging that you answered it. Because he doesn't care. It's a dishonest position to have. Creationist positions are dishonest. They don't care about the answers. He doesn't care about having the right information because he has to believe in God. That comes first. And if science answers all his questions, then what else does he have? Their faith is stronger than scientific fact. And that's the one thing, the most important thing that I've learned so far being an atheist is that they don't care about what's true. They care about believing in magic. They have to believe in their God, and that comes before any truth whatsoever. So, to me, it's like it's a waste of time to even answer their questions because they don't care about honest answers. They simply do not give a shit. They don't care. Whatever answer you give them, they'll just switch the topic to something else. It's unbelievable. Here's another thing that he said. I can give you pistons, rods, heads, gaskets, and I don't care how long they sit. They will never become an engine without someone putting them together. That he thinks that is a legitimate argument for a creator. He doesn't understand why that argument is flawed. Why that's a dumb argument to make to someone like me. He doesn't understand that pistons, rods, head gaskets are not living organisms. They can't react to an environment around them. They can't reproduce. Living things can reproduce on their own without the need for a creator. They're not like the building blocks of life. They don't chemically react to the environment around them. Those things don't need a magic fairy to put them together. That is the difference. That's really dumb. Besides, we know who puts pistons, rods, and head gaskets together. We know who their parents are. We know about them. So if you want to posit a creator, which creator is it? How do we run a test to determine who's the right creator and where that creator came from? Sir Smitty, that argument is bullshit. It's stupid. It's a dumb argument. It's retarded. You know, and they get on me because I call them names, but I don't have any choice. After 4 years of this shit, I've lost all patience with creationists. So if I call you a dumbass, you're a dumbass, and I'm not apologizing for it because this is shit you should look up for yourself. All these questions that you're asking can be looked up on the internet. There's no excuse to be this goddamn stupid in the age of the internet. To ask a dumbass question like that or to make a point like that with the expectation that I can't answer it. Here's another stupid question he asked me. Why hate something you don't believe in? Nobody, no atheists hate God. You know what we don't like? We don't like fundamentalist Christians. We don't like creationists. We don't like the shit that you peddle. It has nothing to do with your God. It's you and your beliefs. You are real. Your beliefs are real. The bullshit you want to put in government is real. The shit you want to put in school is real. You want to make everybody as stupid as you, and that's what we don't like. We don't like the fact that you tell us if we don't believe your bullshit, that we're going to be punished forever. Now, honestly, if God wanted to punish me, he'd send me to heaven, because there is nothing I would hate more than an eternity-long Easter church service. That would be hell. So, threaten me with hell? No. Threaten me with heaven, because I would be scared shitless. It's amazing, people. The ignorance that these people wear like a badge of, like a Boy Scout badge or something. Like, I'm so proud, I'm so stupid that I don't know anything. And then another thing he says to me is that the Bible proves nature. The Bible says nature proves there is a God. He told that to me. I'm an atheist. I don't believe the Bible is the Word of God. The Bible isn't authoritative to me. So why would you think that means anything to me? If I believed the Bible was authoritative, I would be a Christian. So what is that supposed to prove? The Bible proves God because it's in the Bible. He doesn't understand circular logic. How can you even argue with anybody if you don't even understand what a logical fallacy is? I mean, this guy, from what I understand, doesn't have a education past high school. You can't. You cannot have an education past high school and ask questions and be this damn stupid. You can't. It's impossible. You must be homeschooled or went to a Christian school. How could you just know nothing about the questions you ask? They don't even make sense to somebody like me. It's unbelievable. I'm just at a loss for words. Like, he's just a microcosm of the stuff I get in my inbox every day, almost. The dumbest questions. Oh, Lord. Well, I think that concludes this video. I want you guys just to read his arguments that he gives. And if you care to explain to him why his questions are stupid, go ahead. But it's just frustrating when you can look this stuff up yourself. You can answer your own questions. But these people, they're scared to go on these websites. They're scared to go to the library and look up the answers from themselves. He's scared to go on a website and ask and find out how did we develop lungs. And why develop them if we survived thousands of years without them? He honestly thinks that we survived thousands of years without lungs. Either that or he's lying. With a question that stupid, you have to assume that he's lying. Because that's the dumbest question I've ever heard. I mean, that's up there with Ray Comfort's dog analogy. But we know Ray Comfort's lying. This kid could just be ignorant. And I'm going to call you a kid. You know I'm going to call you a kid because anyone who thinks like this is a child mentally. So I don't care if you're 55 years old. I'm only 31, but you're a child to me. Because adults don't think like this. Children think like this. So, that's your Black Atheist. I will be bringing you more videos of this nature because I've got an inbox full of stupid people that won't go away. So, it's me, out.